A, meeting opening. A1, call to order. A2, pledge of allegiance. A3, adoption of the agenda. Are there any consent agenda items that a board member would like to have discussed as an action item? Okay, hearing none. Do I have a motion that the governing board adopt the meeting agenda?
I move to adopt the meeting agenda.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza.
I second.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 B, new business. B1, superintendent contract. Do I have a motion that the governing board approve the contract for the superintendent of the Alhambra School District? Elementary, sorry.
So there's no executive session? I move that we accept the contract for the superintendent of the Alhambra Elementary School District.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Any discussion?
I would just, on behalf of the board, like to welcome Dr. Cecilia Myas to our district. I think she will do a great job, and I think she will fit in seamlessly.
Madam President, I would like to thank all the people that helped us get Dr. Mice to this position. The company, the Ray and Associates that did all the heavy lifting of getting the applications out. A big thanks to Jessica Howers, who in about 12 hours turned over a flyer to get out to advertise the position. Clara Perry, who and all of her team in HR, who not only were recruiting staff, this is a busy time of year for HR, but also working with us and helping us choose our next superintendent. And we couldn't have done it without the technology department, who bent over backwards to make sure that we had all the Zoom meetings when we were supposed to have them and get videos out to the community as well to ourselves. And then thank you to our team up here who spent many hours reviewing, re-reviewing, reading and rereading all the documents that were provided to us. We truly operate as a team up here, and I too welcome you to a part of our team. We call ourselves a family, and this is part of the family. And that includes Dana and Kathleen, who did so much work for this, making sure that this got accomplished and that we came up with this replacement for Mark. So I welcome you as well to our family.
Madam President, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Conchas.
Hello. I would like to thank the families, the staff, the parents. I would like to thank everyone who participated in our listening sessions in the beginning before we released the application to find out what qualities we wanted in a superintendent. Also want to thank everyone who participated in our virtual, I guess you would call it a roundtable, and all of your responses. There was lots of engagement from folks, from teachers, staff, administrators, students. The student voices were very crucial to this search. And so I also want to say, thank you to the staff and everyone who helped make this possible, and to our governing board. I want to also just welcome Dr. Myas to Alhambra. I know that Dr. Myas has an extraordinary story, which I hope that she will share with everyone. She grew up in adversity and eventually earned a doctorate from Arizona State University. And she is a person that I know will lead with her heart, create trust in the district, listen to the district, and make sure that we're innovative and creating many opportunities for all of our students here in Alhambra. And so I want to welcome you and say, welcome to the Alhambra family, and we wish nothing but success for our new leader.
Hey everyone. Uh, I think I'll just I echo all the sentiments from the other board members. I'm welcoming Dr. Maes into our district, into this role. It's a lot of responsibility, and I think we all entrust her with this new role and responsibility. To lead our district with that passion that Lupe was mentioning. I am here at the AESD conference with some of the other fellow Alhambra school board members or school officials. I can't tell you how many people are congratulating us on the decision that we made and entrusting Dr. Maes. So it's just a reaffirmation of the decision that we've made as a collective, that we're in good hands. And again, welcome to the familia.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, well, without further ado, we are pleased to announce our new superintendent, Dr. Cecilia Maes. Under this new leadership, we will continue to guide Alhambra in educating the whole child and move our innovative journey into the next phase. Welcome.
Good evening, Madam President, governing board members, Superintendent Islas, everyone here in attendance this evening. It is with great humility and gratitude that I'm just so grateful to be here. I'm without words and thank you for choosing me. Thank you for your confidence in me, for your trust in me, and just getting to know everyone here. It's just been a pleasure so far, everyone that I speak to. I know Mark has spoken very highly of each and every one, and just the minimal interactions I've had already, I can see exactly why. I look forward to getting to know each and every one of you and to serving you as the leader. And I know, Mark, I heard you say these meetings stick to an hour, and so I'm not going to push it any further. But like I said, I'm grateful. I'm excited to be a part of this amazing family, and all that you've built so far. And I look forward to continuing the amazing work that Alhambra has completed so far, and just will continue to do for our amazing children, for our staff, for our community. And so thank you again, and I'm so excited to join. Thank you.
And welcome again. Thank you. All right, moving to B2 resolution. The resolution that the governing board approve of to adopt the proposed resolution to condemn racism and affirm commitment to equitable practices. Do I have a motion that the governing board adopt the proposed resolution?
I move that we adopt the resolution concerning racism, anti-racism.
Thank you, Ms. Dale Campo. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Conchas. Any discussion?
Is someone going to read the resolution? Read it. I would like to read it out. Did not read the resolutions. Resolution condemning racism and affirming Alhambra Elementary School District's equitable, anti-racist school environments for all. I'm going to begin with a quote. You cannot change any society unless you take responsibility for it, unless you see yourself as belonging to it and responsible for changing it. And that is by Grace Lee Boggs. Whereas we, the members of the Alhambra Elementary School Board, condemn the many lives lost through unnecessary deaths as a demonstration of the vileness of prejudice, injustice, and systemic racism that persists in our country. And whereas racism continues to exist in all societal systems, including schools, and whereas condemning racism is not enough to end racism, and whereas purposeful action against all forms of racism, both individual and organizational, necessary to dismantle racism, and whereas achieving AESD's vision of the best schools in our community requires that systemic racism and inequalities be removed, and whereas AESD core values and mission of cultivating excellence in our school district requires our purposeful and persistent pursuit of equity, which includes being anti-racist, and whereas public schools must be the greatest hope for the future and prosperity of each and every child in Arizona and America, and whereas AESD has a responsibility to ensure the highest ideals of justice, citizenship, and human dignity are demonstrated and upheld in our schools, from the governing board table to the classroom and all places and spaces in between, and that the constitutional rights of every person who learns and works in our schools are protected. And whereas AESD strives to create a safe and enriching space that values the unique attributes, experiences, and identities of our students, staff, families, and community. And whereas AESD has the responsibility to acknowledge that racism still may be embedded in our schools. Therefore, let it be known that the Alhambra Elementary School District number 68 Board of Directors recognizes our district governing board members as leaders and representatives of our community, are responsible for setting and modeling key values of the Alhambra Elementary District, and have a critical role in acting against racism and addressing educational disparities and inequalities within our student achievement and positive student outcomes are the central focus of the work of our school board, and opportunity gaps exist in every school, and that racism, both individual and systematic, contributes to these gaps. And Alhambra School District governing board members are responsible for setting the expectations and making decisions that support educators in closing the opportunity gaps. And increasing educational equity and acting against racism requires our school board to have trusting and collaborative relationships with the many communities we serve to be successful in our endeavors. And educational equity and purposeful action against racism are ongoing journeys, not a fixed destination. So be it resolved that we, members of the Alhambra Elementary School District Governing Board of Directors, stand committed to leading and advocating in ways which support and advance more equitable and inclusive educational environments free of racism, where every student, teacher, staff, parent, and community member is treated with dignity and respect. Adopted this.
And I want to take this moment to thank Ms. De Ocampo for bringing the resolution forward to us. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Move to D, consent agenda. D1, approval of consent agenda items. I call for a motion that the, oh, I'm sorry. Oops, I'm sorry. C, public comment, and we do have one today. It's been a long time. Marissa Hernandez.
Good evening. My name is Marissa Hernandez, and I am the president of the Cartwright Elementary School District Governing Board. Ms. Garcia, and she is my vice president. But we are here not only to mourn the loss of one of our greatest family members, but also to celebrate her success. A success that you now will have, even greater success, now that you have Dr. Ceci Mayas on your team. I also have a message from our superintendent, Dr. Leanne Aguilar-Lawler. She is in Hawaii right now. She wants you to know that she is so proud for Ceci and the district that we border. We will continue to partner and become one huge school district together, caring for a huge one team, una familia, and that Ceci is absolutely amazing. Please don't let her soft voice fool you. Ceci is, it's a little bit difficult to explain it, but Ceci holds so much knowledge. Ceci does not give up. Anything that you ask of her, she will do, simply because that is in her care. Ceci has brought the district more than $40 million of savings in the time that she's been our assistant superintendent and was just named our deputy right before she accepted this position. And that was all done in a period of about 1.5 years. Ceci has made our dreams come true of having solar panels in our district. She has brought us an electric bus. Ceci, I can't even sit here and say enough. She started before her assistant superintendent career. She was working in our special education as our director, did an excellent job, and helped my own student and all of our special needs scholars to have improved equity and inclusivity in our district. So we stand up here today to say congratulations to not only Dr. Ceci Mayes, but also to the Alhambra School District, the Alhambra Elementary School District. We are very proud of Ceci, everything that she's accomplished, and we are looking forward to the continued partner. Thank you for letting us address you this evening. Look forward to seeing you again.
Thank you.
She stole all my words. But all this to say what, that yes, we are sad to see her go, but so extremely happy that her new journey will begin here with you. So again, thank you for finding her a new.
Thank you. Okay, move to D, consent agenda. D1, approval of consent agenda items. I call for motion that the governing board approves consent agenda items D2 through D11. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the consent agenda items D2 through D11.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza. Do you have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 To E2. Human resources, E1, 21-22 substitute teacher salary schedule. And board, you can see that on there. So I call for a motion that the governing board approve the substitute teacher salary schedule.
I move that we approve the 2021-2022 substitute teacher salary schedule.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr.
President.
Oropeza. Any discussion?
Yes. Things on this substitute salary schedule that tend to rub me the wrong way. I understand that we need to pay higher for substitutes in areas that are hard to fill, which would be our 6th, 7th, 8th grade and special needs classrooms, so I can appreciate that. What I don't agree with is we have put a high emphasis on consecutive days in the grade 6 special education. They receive a bump in pay after they've been in a situation for 30 consecutive days. 31st day, their pay goes up from $120 a day to $200 a day. Whereas the K-5 teachers, the substitutes in the K-5 classrooms, have to wait till the 61st day before they get a bump. Not talking loud enough. They have to wait for the 61st day to get a bump, and they only get bumped up $20 from 100 to 120. I think it is critical that we maintain consistency of substitutes in the lower grades, just like we do in the upper grades. And I don't see that commitment to that consistency reflected in what we have here in our salary schedule. If I calculated right, and I am not exactly the best in math, if we have a long-term sub in a K-5 position, we would wind up paying her approximately $20,000, her or him, approximately $20,000 for the entire 180-day school year. I just can't accept that. One other question. Does the special ed cover preschool special ed, or is it just K through 8 special ed? Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Thank you, Ms. Perry.
Good evening, President O'Neill France, governing board members, Superintendent Sloss. Thank you for your question, Ms. De Ocampo. To address the last one, because it's kind of an easier question with the developmental preschool, those would qualify under the special education amount. So they would qualify under that because it's a still self-contained special education classroom. In your question, I kind of want to apologize on behalf of the way this was written. We went back to try to clarify it a little bit better to kind of help ease that, because I do absolutely understand where you're coming from. We tried to add a little chart and added that in there and changed the wording just so it maybe clarifies it a little bit more clear. Any teacher, any individual, any guest teacher that's in a long-term sub-position, and a long-term sub-position is defined as any classroom position that's 30 days or greater in the same classroom. This would be maybe your maternity leave or FMLAs. Those individuals, whether it's in kindergarten through 8th grade or even our preschool, if they're in a long-term sub-position, that long-term assignment is when that starts to pay the extra increased amount. So we kind of didn't have a space between our words. So we wanted to go back and just really clarify that. So for all those long-term guest teachers, anyone that's in a classroom for greater than 30 days in the same classroom, they will, effective on that 31st day, go up to the $200 per day rate. The difference between,
So they will all go up to the $200 a day?
yes, ma'am. So we've had to kind of maybe leave a space. I think when we put the formatting into the public content and the board agenda, it looked that, and so I can understand how it would perceive to be that way. But any teacher that walks into a first grade classroom and or a guest teacher that walks into a first grade classroom and she's there for an extended amount of time, more than 30 days, will receive the long-term guest teacher pay. What the maybe kind of, if you don't mind, if I can just clarify the first and the 61st day in that piece of it. As you can see, we sometimes have guest teachers that might go for 4 days here and take a break and then maybe go for 2 weeks and come back again in January and take a month assignment. For those individuals, once they hit that 61st day of their assignment, that's when they go. But a long-term, any position that's those 30 days in a classroom will go up. So we apologize for not being totally clear. Hope we've kind of made it a little bit less muddy in the water.
I think I understand, but I want to make sure because it's personal to me here.
Absolutely.
Anybody working in any grade from kindergarten through 8th grade, if they're there after the 30th day, is going to be responsible for lesson planning.
Yes.
Getting materials organized. There's just things
Grades.
grades, parent conferences. Anyone who's there after the 31st day will go up to the $200, no matter if they're preschool through,
Yes. Yes.
no
ma'am.
matter whether they're preschool or 8th grade and then the special education.
Yeah. Some of our
All right,
folks
I
like
think
to
I
take-
understand then.
Sorry, I think when I looked at the content piece, it was.
Okay, and I don't seem to
No, I
have
agree.
access to the chart, but I will check it out later. So
Okay.
thank you.
Yes.
Madam President, does that count for preschool, retired preschool directors as well? Oh, sorry. I know that they,
Prejudice was showing.
Thank you, Ms. Perry. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
You answered the questions correctly. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, E2, new position for the 2021-2022 school year. I call for a motion that the governing board approve the new position titled Nutrition and Wellness Supervisor. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the new position titled Nutrition and Wellness Supervisor.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza. Do I have a second?
I second.
Thank you, Ms. De Ocampo. Any discussion?
I think from what I understand, this is a position that will benefit us greatly in the way we provide services during meals in our district and the nutritional value of the meals we serve. I also think that in the long run, this position, the way I understand it, will wind up paying for itself in money that's generated by our close look at how we get paperwork filed and how we follow up on how we provide our services and what we provide. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, sir. Mr. Conchas?
I just wanted to say about this position, thank you to Ms. Perry for our conversation about it. And one thing that I mentioned to Ms. Perry is also including in the job description healthy, nutritious, and also culturally relevant menus for our students, since we are such a diverse school district. So I really appreciate that. And I appreciate those conversations that we had to ensure that we also have culturally relevant meals. Thank you.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, move to E3, Contract Service Agreement for International Teach Alliance, ITA. I call for a motion that the Governing Board approve the Contract Service Agreement for International Teach Alliance. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the attached contract service agreement for International Teach Alliance.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Solario.
Madam President,
Any discussion?
Madam President, before we vote, I need to recuse myself from voting on this issue.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Ms. O'Neill Franz,
Aye.
Ms. De Ocampo,
I recuse myself.
Mr. Solario,
Aye.
Mr. Oropesa,
Aye.
Mr. Conchas.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Move to F, Business Services. F1, approval of purchases over $100,000. I call for a motion that the Governing Board approve the vendors listed for the purchases above $100,000 during the 2020-2021 fiscal year. Do I have a motion?
I move that we approve the vendors on the list for purchases over $100,000. Is
Thank-
it the 2021 or the 21-22? Okay, I just wanted to double check. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 G, comments, communication. G1, comments from governing board members.
A couple of comments. It seems to be my wordy night here. I'm sorry. I wanted to specifically, under consent agenda, we accepted a number of donations from people in our community to our schools, which benefit our students, and I wanted to thank those donors for doing that. I also wanted to thank our staff here who had the foresight to take the materials that we no longer use and get them donated to someone who can distribute them to a place where they're needed. Other thing I wanted to comment on was the grant. Whoever came up with that and got that grant for us, I really appreciate it. We lose so many new teachers in the first, second, and third year that to have someone that will come and mentor those teachers and help them through those first 180 days that are very difficult, because we all know that student teaching, you have somebody in your back pocket helping, and when you're the only one in the classroom, it's nice to have somebody that you can rely on. And then the other one I wanted to comment on was the Medicare Technician. That is another position that I feel will pay for itself. There is so much complexity in the paperwork that you file for Medicare and for making sure that you do the right billing and you get the people having the right certifications so that we can collect the money. That is definitely a position that has been needed for a long time. I didn't even realize we didn't have it. So I definitely commend the department for making that happen. Thank you.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. Conchas.
I would like to also comment on the consent agenda where we have our agreement with Illinois State University Distance Dietetic Internship Program with our Child Nutrition Department. And I think that's a really great collaboration. And I appreciate that we're going to have students in our district working in their field, but also helping out, making sure our children have the best meals possible and nutrition. One thing that I would like to just say that I support is also doing this for other departments, such as I know we spoke about when we were reopening our shortage of nurses and healthcare workers in the district. I know that we have filled those positions, but it would be great, especially maybe our new leader would be able to bring in more partnerships with nursing programs from across the valley, but across the country to make sure that we have nursing students helping out in those places. So that's all that I have, and thank you so much.
Thank you. Moving to G2, Governing Board Direction and/or Agenda Item Request. Okay, moving to G3, comments from Superintendent and Executive Team.
Thank you, Madam President, members of the governing board, Alhambra Familia. First thing I'd like to do is welcome Dr. Ceci Mayas as your new leader in this awesome community. There are so many things that I could say about the great people of Alhambra. You mostly can see most of our leaders, or a lot of our leaders, are here. And I think that that's one of the things that drives this district, is that we have great servant leaders, and everyone cares deeply about the community. So with the things that your Ms. President Hernandez has said, I'm sure you're going to fit right in. So welcome to the familia. Second thing I want to say is thank you, President Marisa Hernandez and Vice President Denise Garcia, to take your time to come over here and welcome Ceci. I see how proud you are of her, and how much just this whole side of the valley means to you, and the words you said about us continuing to partner together, Alhambra and Cartwright, and do the great things for our kids on this side of town. So thank you, both of you, for being here. And I'm surprised that I didn't get a lot of requests on my last day. Actually, I got one more board meeting here with you, but I am going to bring one order of business, and I really appreciate that Ms. De Ocampo has brought the anti-racism and the commitment to equitable practices to the forefront in a resolution. And what's good about, one of the great things about our district is we just don't put resolutions into place, but we actually put action and practice into place as we work through things. So as my last order of business, I will be bringing to you a proposal for our next meeting regarding how we make a commitment as a leadership team at Alhambra for equitable practices for our staff and students. So thank you, Ms. De Ocampo, for doing that, and that will be something that I bring to you in our last meeting. That's all I have, Madam President.
Thank you. I was afraid you were going to ask why I didn't go to your new board and do a speech like they did here. I'm like, wait, I asked Dana, is that the reason he's saying it? Because he wants me to go do that? I'm sorry, I don't even go out that far.
You know,
Sorry.
I did notice that the Cartwright board allows their superintendent to go to Hawaii, but we're here with you today. So thank you.
I believe that travel has been approved for July 1st.
Oh, okay. I thought Agua Fria was almost there.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, moving to H, meeting close. H1, next governing board meeting is June 24th, 2021. H2, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to
I
adjourn.
move that we
Thank you.
adjourn this meeting.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Conchas. Do I have a second?
A second.
Thank you, Mr. Oropeza. Any discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
My friends, there are some refreshments over there to continue our welcoming of Dr. Myers as our new superintendent. So please join, and Dr. Myers, if you could come up here.